All right. So today we're going to be trying to make sense of the Pimax Vision lineup, or like the current Pimax lineup today before the reality series releases, and basically get it set straight, what each Pimax model is. Because there's quite a few Pimax models as shown here on your screen, and there's even one missing, and that's the original 8K. But I'm not going to talk about that right now. I'm going to talk about all these headsets and explain what each model is, uh, their purpose, and if it's, I guess, the type of headset you're looking for. So, we're going to start off down the bottom here, or the far right, with the Pimax Artisan. This is Pimax's smallest field of view headset, not including the original 4K. Not talking about that today. And this has the lowest resolution out of every Pimax here, with 1700 by 1440 per eye. And this is because they used a smaller display in the headset. It has a smaller field of view. They claim 170, but by normal measurements horizontally, it's 140 degrees field of view. This headset is on the budget end, and is basically Pimax's cheapest option. Can do 120 hertz. I believe it's with cut down field of view at 120 hertz, but it can do full field of view at 90 hertz. Might be mistaken with this. I haven't really consulted many people about the Pimax Artisan. This headset, for most people, you're better off go with something like a Valve Index over this, but it's basically an entry level into Pimax. Next model up, we've got the 5K XR. I thought this was discontinued. Apparently, it's not. They recently sold a few units, but it's no longer on their store. This is their one and only OLED headset that Pimax have made. This headset is kind of disappointing. It doesn't use the best OLED panel. It definitely gets you the full field of view. It only gets you 85 hertz, so you don't even get the full 90 hertz. And due to the fact that the resolution stretches over such a wide field of view, and the OLED panel is still pentile, I think. I think that's the correct word. The screen door effect is very prominent. Looks like a little bit better than like first generation VR headsets like the Vive and the Rift, but is not as good as something like the Vive Pro with screen door effect. It's very bad, but at least you get a OLED type display. Very, very interesting headset, but I would more be looking at something like a 5K Plus. So the 5K Plus shares the exact same resolution as the 5K XR. It's 2560 by 1440 per eye. But this is an LCD display, which means it's got an RGB striped like subpixel arrangement. And this means it doesn't have a pentile. The screen door effect is very nice. They have the gap in between each pixel is quite good. So even for a lower resolution headset, for stretching it out over such a wide field of view, they've managed to make the pixels essentially larger and the gap in between them very thin. So the screen door effect is still very comparable to something like the Valve Index, even though the Valve Index has got a lot less field of view than the 5K Plus. This headset, when it originally launched, was only capable of doing 90 hertz and was later updated to do 120 hertz. And then an update after that allowed it to do 144 hertz. So I have corrected a few things on this chart here that they released a long time ago. And I've said it's capable of 144 hertz. But this 144 hertz is not at the full FOV of the 5K plus. So if you wanted to use this as a 144 hertz headset, your field of view is going to be cropped down to something more of like the valve index. The field of view is still going to be larger, but it's not the full Pimax FOV that you're going to get with the 5K plus. But 90 hertz is full field of view, I'm pretty sure, and it does have other refresh rate modes, such as, it says 72 here. I don't remember. I haven't used my 5K plus in a very long time. It was either 72 or 75. It's probably 72. And yeah, this is one of the last strap models. Basically, Pimax headsets, very light for how large they are. I'd say they're more comfortable, like these basic strap ones, than the original Vive. They're a lot larger physically, but they're closer to your face, and they don't hang out as much. And due to this, like, fact of Pimax, the comfort is really nice because it's very low profile to your face, even though it is, going around it quite a lot. It's like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a seesaw thing. The further out you go and you lean on it, the more you would feel it than if it was closer to the center point of like the hinge, gravity, whatever. It doesn't matter. So then there would be the 8K plus, but I don't know. It's the last one of the old designs, where the old plastic stuff. Basically, 8K plus is not really worth it unless you're getting it for the price of a 5K plus, and even then, the 5K plus is more enticing. Oh wait, no, not the 8K plus. Did I say 8K plus? Don't worry about that. The original 8K. It had a 4K display, but it had a weird sub-pixel arrangement for an LCD display and never rendered at native resolution. It was 2560 by 1440p upscaled on the display, and its refresh rate, I think, was 90 hertz or 85 hertz or something. Essentially, it was better looking than the 5K plus, but you're probably better off with the higher refresh rate and no upscaling and stuff like that of the 5K plus. Anyway, moving on to the 5K Super. The 5K Super is essentially a refreshed version of the 5K plus. It has a very similar type screen, except for the 5K Super is capable of doing 180 hertz. But this has the same compromise as the 5K plus, where the FOV gets cropped down depending on the refresh rate. So 180 hertz is definitely around the field of view of 144 hertz on the 5K plus. I haven't compared them side by side to give an exact answer, but similar display, just high refresh rate. For every refresh rate this does, it's got more field of view. So where the 5K plus might be halved in the field of view, or almost halved, let's say about horizontally about 140 degrees field of view on the 5K plus, that would be its 120 hertz mode, where the 5K Super would be able to do that same thing at 160 hertz. So per FOV, you're getting a much higher refresh rate. So you can nearly do 120 hertz full field of view on the 5K Super. It's only like 5 degrees off. People don't even notice it. It technically is there. People look at their Pi tool and they say, why is 120 hertz normal FOV? It's because it's, like 5 degrees off from being large FOV. And large FOV by Pimax definition is 170 degrees. No more, no less. At least for the current Vision models. So that's the conclusion to this. I only use 180 hertz when I play very fast-paced shooters. But most of the time I'm using 120 hertz, and it is great. Okay, so I don't think there's anything else. This, a rigid head strap. So we're moving on from elastic straps. They It comes with the S-Mass audio, standard modular audio strap by default. It is garbage. That's my opinion. So essentially, it's Quest audio, but remove all the bass. So the sharpness and clarity is there, but there's just no bass at all. So it doesn't sound particularly tinny, but that's essentially what it is. So if you're buying the 5K Super, you've either got a 100% guarantee to yourself that you're going to be using your own headphones plugged in to it, which I haven't had success with my model. I have weird audio jack issues on my model. I can't plug in my own headphones. I have the KD Mass on mine. Or you upgrade the audio on the 5K Super to the KD Mass or DMass audio solution. Most people seem to like the DMass. That's the over-ear index style. KD Mass is on-ear, so it's pressing against your ear with a cushion. I quite like that solution. So yeah, KD Mass is what I use. So you either got to get the KD Mass minimum or use your own headphones, because the S-Mass is really not usable. They have no processing on board designed to noise cancel. So if you play the volume about 50% or above on the S-Mass, the microphone starts picking it up. Not good for games where you're talking. Okay, at least it has basic audio. It's basically saying we have included audio with this, unlike other headsets like Vario Aero. Okay, moving on now. So, actually, no. Before moving on, there's some refresh rate modes that they removed on the 5K Super compared to the 5K Plus. So, if you were planning on using this headset at 72 hertz like the 5K Plus, not possible. Minimum's 90 hertz. Kind of sucks. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. 8K Plus. So, to my knowledge, and I believe to the knowledge of everyone that's really into Pimax, what the 8K Plus is just the regular panels from the 8KX, but with all the inboard componentry and stuff of like a 5K Super. So it's got some kind of upscaling solution in the headset where it takes a 1440p image, so it's rendering 2560 by 1440, and it's upscaling it to the 4K screen. So this is really designed for if your PC doesn't have a lot of performance and you basically get a lower screen door effect, like a better screen door effect because you're using a 4K panel. And you basically get an image quality very similar to the Quest 2, in my opinion. I haven't compared them side by side. I've only used 5K Plus, 5K Super, but from through the lens shots and stuff, it looks like a compressed Quest 2 looking type image. Obviously, it's a direct DisplayPort link, so there's no compression, but the softness of the image and all that kind of looks like a Quest 2 image, and it doesn't have the performance hit that the 8KX would have because it is running upscaled. All these headsets, get the full field of view. I believe the 8K Plus full field of view is only 90 hertz. There's 110, but it might drop the field of view down a little bit. Not really sure. Not many people buy the 8K Plus, but it's RGB striped. It's good. Most people kind of just save the money and go with 5K Super because you're getting that high refresh rate, a native looking image. The only real difference is this has better screen door effect and lower refresh rate with an upscaled type looking image. Not really sure on refresh rate modes, but 110, 90 guaranteed. Not sure about these lower ones. And the 8KX, the last one. So the 8KX is the full 4K panel with native rendering. When it launched, it was a 75 hertz 4K image. Now it is 90 hertz, and it has an upscaled mode. Now, I got to specify here, there has been two different revisions of the 8KX. There's the original launch one, which was the KD Mass 8KX, and maybe S Mass 8KX. I'm not sure, but there's the old model, and this was compatible with AMD, NVIDIA. I think it worked on 10 series compatibility. I'm not really sure on 10 series, but it worked on 20, 30 series NVIDIA, worked on AMD. It had 90 hertz, 75 hertz native resolution. It had 114 hertz upscaled because it had the same upscaled type capability that the 8K Plus had, where it could upscale from 2560 by 1440 just on the 4K panel. But the older 8KX has essentially been discontinued, it seems. There's very few batches being made, and they've basically replaced it in the past almost a year now with the new revised model, which is only just unlocking some added refresh rates. Like, I think some people have 75 hertz now. There's no AMD support, no confirmation on AMD support. They changed the components internally, so they're having to do everything from the ground up. So, but the image looks better. Apparently, the display is nicer. Colors look better, and I can probably give a reason to this in a minute. But this is the 8KX flagship, basically best of the best for the Vision series. I've corrected the specs or whatever for the older model. If you're looking at the newer model, it's only capable of 90 hertz, and some people have it working at 75 hertz or something with like a beta BIOS. I don't think upscaled mode is working on the new model yet, but hopefully all these things will be fixed very soon. Pimax is very good at updating their headsets later on down the track to add additional features and stuff like that. Now, moving on to additional features. So, it's not really an additional feature, but I just want to point out, I have put a line across the bottom down here for adjustable IPD 55 to 75. How IPD adjustment works in Pimax headsets is the lenses move, but the displays are very large. They're 5.5 inches. They don't move. So you're moving the lens in retrospect to where the displays are, because the displays are fixed. So you technically do get a range of 55 to 75, apparently. But it doesn't really seem to work well for people. So the IPD range, which seems to give people good results, like a good image that's not one side's blurry, the other side's not, or heavy strain on their eyes, or like something like that, is about 64 millimeters to 71, I think, millimeters. That's the good range for a Pimax headset. If you are outside of these bounds, many people have issues, and they will have to tweak their IPD offset in software in PyTool, which can dramatically improve the experience. But I'm not sure if it's going to fix the inner blur spot around the lenses. So I'm just going to move to this. So let's say you've got your Pimax lens and you've got your other Pimax lens, and you can see your FOV or whatever like this. In the inner spot around your lens in here, on both sides, it starts to blur because of it's the very edge of the Fresnel lens, and because of that, it's hard for it basically makes things blur in that spot. Most people's eyes would be sitting out, in the center bit area where the Fresnel rings, whatever, would be. But if you've got a super low IPD and you're offsetting the display or the lenses to be super close to each other because you've got a low IPD of like 58 or 60 or something like that. This inner lens image can cause an issue, and you basically need to use the PyTool IPD offset software to fix your experience. It's very user dependent. Some people say that they have no issues with it, and they've got like 62 IPD. Other people say they have, that same similar range and they have issues or whatever. A lot of the issues can be resolved by just the IPD offset software, but these are things you got to keep in mind. I generally do not recommend Pimax headsets to people under 64 millimeters for their IPD because they generally have issues with the, lenses, potentially distortion profile if their eyes are really off. It's like if they've got an IPD of like 55 or 56 or something. But this shouldn't, quote unquote, shouldn't be an issue for Pimax's next gen headsets. So I think I've summarized everything about these models. Yeah, I hope I've clarified everything. If I haven't clarified or you have any questions, just ask.